Hello, I'm Martin L. Shoemaker, one of the authors in Robots Through the Ages, an exciting new anthology coming from Blackstone Publishing, July 25th, edited by Robert Silverberg and Bryan Thomas Schmidt. This book is a history of robot stories across the field of science fiction going back more than 100 years, including 3 new stories never before seen just for this volume, including one of mine. And I have loved the stories in this volume, and I would like to put together a video reviewing each of the different stories within it and share it with you so that you can see what you can get in this amazing volume. Our next story in Robots Through the Ages is Second Variety by Philip K. Dick. And it opens with this. The Russian soldier made his way nervously up the ragged side of the hill, holding his gun ready. He glanced around him, licking his dry lips, his face set. From time to time, he reached up a gloved hand and wiped perspiration from his neck, pushing down his coat collar. Eric turned to Corporal Leone. Want him, or can I have him? He adjusted the view sight so the Russian's features squarely filled the glass, the lines cutting across his hard, somber features. Leone considered. The Russian was close, moving rapidly, almost running. Don't fire. Wait, Leone tensed. I don't think we're needed. The Russian increased his pace, kicking ashen piles of debris out of his way. He reached the top of the hill and stopped, panting, staring around him. The sky was overcast, drifting clouds of gray particles. Bare trunks of trees jutted up occasionally. The ground was level and bare, rubble-strewn, with the ruins of buildings standing out here and there like yellowing skulls. We don't see any robots yet, but we see vivid imagery of the destruction of this world and how robots can be seen coming, let's say. When Leone says, I don't think we're needed, it's because the robots will take care of the Russian for them. This is from Philip K. Dick, an author who a friend recently described as the Van Gogh of science fiction. If you're familiar with Van Gogh as the artist, he was quite a prolific artist, Vincent van Gogh, but he was never appreciated in his time. His brother Theo would try to sell his canvases and could just not find enough buyers to actually make Van Gogh successful. It didn't help that Van Gogh lived a rather extravagant lifestyle of drinking and other activities that took up a lot of his time and his health, and also sometimes fed into his depression, to the point where Van Gogh really never understood what he had accomplished. He knew in his head what he was trying to accomplish, but no one appreciated it, and he couldn't see that not long after his death, people would start looking at his art and seeing how great his vision was. I know very few visual artists that I can recognize, but Van Gogh is among my top 3 favorites of all time. But that didn't come to him in his lifetime. He never knew that was happening. Philip K. Dick was a stylist and a plotter, a visionary who had his own demons, his own mental health problems, his own addiction problems, a lot of things that brought him down. But he was known in the science fiction community for brilliant, beautiful, weird stories that really made him popular with the discerning readers, but weren't enough to ever make him successful in the way he seemed to deserve. And that started to change with a story he wrote called Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, which got optioned for a movie and eventually produced as something you have perhaps run across called Blade Runner. Blade Runner came out just a month or so after Dick's death. But he got to see an early print. He got to see some of the press excitement about it. So unlike Van Gogh, he at least could see that the success was out there. He just tragically didn't live to get it. And since then, Philip K. Dick has become one of Hollywood's favorite writers. Beyond Blade Runner, his stories were the basis for Total Recall, The Man in the High Castle, The Adjustment Bureau, Screamers, Radio Free Albemuth, A Scanner Darkly, Minority Report, and many others. He now has an honored place in TV and film science fiction. He also, again, had his admirers in science fiction print going back a long ways, including this Philip K. Dick collection, which a friend of mine owned the paperback copy of it, not this deluxe hardcover. You can get the deluxe hardcover at the QR code on the right. But he had a paperback copy, and he lent it out to me. And that is where I originally read The Second Variety. So when I read this in the collection of Robots Through the Ages, I was ready for what I was getting. The claws weren't like other weapons. They were alive from any practical standpoint, whether the governments wanted to admit it or not. They were not machines. They were living things, spinning, creeping, shaking themselves up suddenly from the gray ash and darting toward a man, climbing up to him, rushing for his throat. And that was what they had been designed to do, their job. They did their job well, especially lately with the new designs coming up. Now they repaired themselves. They were on their own. Radiation tabs protected the UN troops, but if a man lost his tab, he was fair game for the claws, no matter what his uniform. Down below the surface, automatic machinery stamped them out. Human beings stayed a long way off. It was too risky. Nobody wanted to be around them. They were left to themselves, and they seemed to be doing all right. The new designs were faster, more complex, more efficient. Apparently, they had won the war. If only it were so easy, as our protagonist will find out.